Hello everyone. Firstly, I would like to welcome you all for today's meetup. Thank you for giving your time and joining this meetup. First of all, it will be recorded just to make sure everyone knows that. I'll start by telling you like what is Pi Ladies exactly. Obviously about Pi Ladies Chennai and Pi Ladies. Okay, so Pi Ladies, it is an international mentorship group which basically focuses on helping more women to come and joining and contribute to the community, Python open source community. Our main motto goes with empowering women and increasing the involvement of women in this community by outreach, education. Guys, it would be great if you all mute yourselves, please. Thank you. Okay, so by education, conferences, meetups like this, and many social gatherings that we used to have before the COVID situation, but now obviously we just have this. And it is supported by PSF, that is Python Software Foundation. It was started in PyCon US 2011 in Los Angeles, and we also have a package that is PyLadies package, which you can actually install from your command prompt. Please go and try that out as well. And we have more than 100 plus chapters worldwide and 7 plus chapters in India. So that was about PyLadies. Moving on to PyLadies Chennai. So it was just started around 3 years ago, that is 2081. We used to have physical meetups like daily, not daily, monthly, and or weekly. But now we are bound to have like virtual meetups. So monthly meetups were kind of a thing where people exchange knowledge, tell each other about different topics, different, whatever they have worked on or their projects that can be related to anything, like any Python related thing that was basically discussed in those meetups. So we as PyLady Chennai during this lockdown, we started two initiatives, that is Tech Thursday and Saturday Shoutouts. So in Tech Thursday, we have some fact or something very interesting that we put up every Thursday on our social media platforms, and through Saturday Shoutouts, we basically go and interview any women in the community that are working and contributing towards the community. So we interview them and we put out an article and just publish it on many platforms and all the social media platforms. You can check that out as well. So moving on, this is the team of Pi Ladies. That is Nigharika Krishnan and Sharmila Gopirajan. They both started this, and we are the other members: Abhishek Mishra, Ananya Iyer, Ramya, me, Smriti, Shweta, Unnati Mishra, Yashashvi, and Priyanka. Okay, now talking about today's meetup agenda. So there are going to be two sessions. First is a beginner's guide to exploratory data analysis by Yashasvi, and the second would be OS versus Pathlib by Abhishek. So it will take 30 minutes and 20 minutes. So now how to get involved with us? We have, like, you can come in as speaker for any of these meetups that we have. You can connect with us on any social media platform. You will have all the credentials. Like, you can just search for PyIDs on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, anywhere, and you will get our social media, and you can connect with us from there. And we have lightning talks, hands-on sessions, and we also put up whatever meetup we are having, we put it up on the meetup.com, so you can go get notified from there as well. And you can have all the like previous meetup resources as well from our social medias. And there is a WhatsApp group for all the volunteers. If you want to come and volunteer, you can join that as well. This below is the PyLadies Chennai website, which you can check it out like for any details that you require. So with this, we will start with our first session, that is exploratory data analysis by Yashasvi. So now I would give it over to Yashasvi. You can continue.
Thank you, Smriti, and thank you, Pyrelis, for having me here. So, sharing my. So, talking about me, I am Yashasvi Mishra. I am currently in my pre-final year of computer science and engineering, and I am a data science enthusiast. Apart from this, I'm also very passionate about communities. They have given me a lot, and I have been a part of the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors community as well. So talking about today's session, it will be exploratory data analysis, or we can say EDA in Python, and it will be a beginner's session. So talking about the agenda, so first we'll look into what exactly is exploratory data analysis. Secondly, we'll see what are the objectives of performing an EDA. And after that, we'll come to the steps which are involved in performing an EDA. So coming to the question, what exactly is an exploratory data analysis? So exploratory data analysis is nothing but data exploration technique to understand the various aspects of a data. Now, by this sentence, what we mean is that we have a data set, we'll be having that, and we have a number of columns which are nothing but the features of the data set. And we need to take out relevant insights from that data by drawing out relationships between those features. But before that, we need to clean the data set properly, that is by removing the outliers, the null values, and the redundancies, and keeping the relevant features that we need. Then coming to the objectives of an EDA. The first and the foremost objective is that first we need to check for the anomalies which are present in the data. Like if it's in a proper format. By format, we mean like we have a number of formats like CSV, XLS, and then TSV. So we need to see that we have it in a proper format. It is not in a dump file kind of thing. And then we need to see that we have removed all the outliers and the redundancies which can cause a lot of noise in the data and will hinder us from building models on the data analysis, the machine learning models or the business models in the organizations. And the second objective is that we need to draw out relationships between the features of the data set. Now, as I said previously, when we need to we need to perform an EDA so that we can have a wider perspective on the data. We need to draw out relations between these features so that they can contribute to the machine learning models and business models. So that's why, so that is the second objective of an EDA. Now coming to the steps which are involved in an EDA. First and foremost step is that we need to understand the data. Like we have been given some data, so we need to know what that data actually is, what is the file format. We need to know about those features. Only then we can perform some analysis on it. And then the second and the most important step is that the data, we need to clean it. In real world, we have seen that we do not get very clean data. However, on sites like Kaggle, we get the data which is generally which is cleaned up. So this is very important because redundancies can increase the noise in the data, and it can make it very difficult for us to have a proper analysis, and hence it can give problems in decision making. Second step is the final step, that is the analysis of relationship between those features. So I have explained it previously that how we need to draw out relationships between the different columns of the data, which is nothing but the features, and that way it contributes to the different models that we make. Before we dive into the demo, the prerequisites will be that you should know you should have a basic understanding of Python programming language, and you should know how to work on Jupyter Lab. Now, what I'll be using here is I'll be using Google Colab, which is nothing but an online version of Jupyter Lab. So if you have any problem in installing Jupyter Lab on your laptop or computer and you don't have Jupyter Lab, so don't worry, just go on Google Colab, open a notebook and start with your analysis. So in this analysis, I will be introducing you to the basic data discovery steps, and I will show 4 to 5 plots that you can use, the data visualization techniques that you can use to draw out better insights. So as I mentioned, our first step should be to know what data we are working on and understand it. So the data that I'll be taking up today will be Titanic machine learning from disaster. So like this data set is very famous. If you're a beginner, it is very good data set to start from. So you can find it on Kaggle, and understanding the data, like this tab in the data set, it gives the proper. Now you can see these variables. These are nothing but these are the columns of the data set. So you can see that it has these columns and the definition is also given. So like from survival, it shows that it is a survival column. And then from SIB, SP, you don't know actually what it is. So it has given that it is the number of the siblings and the spouses of those of that relevant person who is there. And then Parch is nothing but the number of parents and the children aboard. And then ticket is a ticket number, cabin number. Embarked feature shows the port of embarkation. So there are 3 ports: C for Shenburg, Q for Queenstown, and S for Southampton. So this is about the data set that we are using today. And now let's dive into the demo. So for the analysis, we'll be using 3 libraries: Pandas, NumPy, and Seaborn. Pandas is a Python library which is used for data manipulation mainly, whereas NumPy is a library which is used to perform various mathematical operations in Python on the underlying arrays, matrices, etc. And then we have Seaborn. Now, Seaborn is a library that we will be using here for the data visualization. You can also use Matplotlib. There are a number of libraries, so you can use them also. But today we'll be working on with Seaborn. So importing the libraries and importing the data. Now, dot head is a function that gives us the first 5 rows of our data frame, and it also shows the columns, what exactly are the columns in the data set. So you can see here that we have the columns here: passenger ID, survived, class. Using the dot shape function, we can know the exact number of rows and columns which are present in the data set. So let's see what it is. So here you can see that it is 891 rows and 12 columns. Using the dot info function, now what this function does is that it gives the summary of the data that I have, like what are the data types of those columns and what are the null values which are present in it. So you can see here the columns are given and the non-null count, the number of non-null values which are present in them, and the data types. After that, we use dot describe function. Now this function provides us with the statistical summary of the data set. So executing this cell, and here you can see the statistical summary. It has given the count, the mean, the standard deviation, minimum, then it has given the quartile range as well. And this is how we do. After that, you must have seen, like previously, like I told, the embarked column, it had 3 values, the 3 categorical values. Now, what if I want to find the exact number of people which embark from each port? So dot value counts is a very nice operation. So if executed, now you can see that the number of people who embarked from Southampton port were 644, and the ones who came from Queenstown were only 77. So this is how we use this function dot value counts. Then coming to the visualization part, the first plot that I'll be working with will be scatter plot. So executing. Now scatter plot is nothing but like it shows the relationship between two features, like the ticket fare and the age. It shows the relationship between them, and this hue parameter, it gives color to the three different types of classes that I have. Like we had three different classes, first, second, and third. So we have different colors, and it shows each of them here. So you can see that people of third class and their exact fare, it is some dark purple, and till the age of 50, people who have boarded the third class is more as compared to the people above 50, they haven't boarded the third class. Mostly they are in the first class. Now after this we come to box plot. Now box plot is a very important plot. It shows us the distribution of the data, and executing it. Here we can see. So the thing that they provide us is with the interquartile range. So you can see like this block, and it is divided into two. So the below part, it shows the second quartile, whereas this above part gives the third quartile. And the last and the first and the last quartile, the first quartile is here, whereas the last quartile is here. So like we have the quartile range where it is goes to 0 to 25%, 25% to 50%, 50% to 75%, and from 75% to finally 100%. That is how in 4 parts the data, that feature is divided. Now coming to the, like now here I plot a bar plot, a histogram. So what a histogram does is it gives the frequency distribution of that particular feature. Now you have seen that this P class, it had 3 values, 1, 2, and 3. So it kind of gives us the count of that class. So you can see that first class, it had 200 people, whereas third class, it has some 500. So we can clearly see third class people were more. After that, we come to cat plot. Now, cat plot is like it is a visualization which helps us to visualize in a categorical feature with a numerical feature, and I will execute it. And here you can see the embarked, like here it is on this x-axis, whereas survived on the y-axis. Here we have the different colors for different genders. So we have this blue one for males, whereas this green one for females. So now driving insights from the data, we can clearly see that in coming to class 1. So we can see that people who had come from Southampton, number of males which survived was much less than number of women who survived. Whereas the people who came from Queenstown, there were no males who survived, whereas the number of women who survived was still higher. Then we can clearly see that people who were in class 3, they altogether their survival rate was very less as compared to the ones which were in class 1. And the gender ratio, like the gender thing, you can see how many men survived, how many women survived. After that, we come to violin plot. Now, violin plot is similar to a box plot. So, why we use violin plot is that it is much better to provide the similar inside the distribution on a much larger data set. So like as compared to box plot and scatter plots, it is not very cluttered. So we use violin plots. So you can see that these plots look like violin, and how the distribution of this categorical variable along the different levels is given. So this is the violin plot. After that, we come to pair plots. Now, pair plots are very helpful for us to visualize the relationship between each and every variable. Executing this might take some time. Here, so we have it, and the hue parameter we have, so we have different colors for different genders, and you can see that we have the relationship between each and every variable plotted, and it's like a matrix or a grid of the plots. So we can see here, like let's take passenger ID and its relationship with age. So it is given here, and the gender. So this is how it is plotted, and then we can see the like the number of parents and children. It is plotted with respect to number of spouse and siblings. So this is how is it given. After that, when we need to draw out the correlation between the different features of the data, we use this dot core function, and you can see that we have different correlations between each and every variable. Now, to plot, to provide a visualization for the same, I have used heat maps. Now you have seen normally in bar plots that how the widths and the height of those bar plots is required to show the count or the distribution of those features. So what our heat map does is that it does the same function with colors. So we'll see this. Now you can see that we have this color bar here, which tells us that what color corresponds to which value. So let's see in this correlation table, survived with respect to P class, we have it minus 0.33. And similarly, let's see survived with respect to P class. So we have this dark purple color, and we can see that, yeah, it lies between minus 0.4 to minus 0.2. So somewhere here it is, and it's minus 0.3. Similarly, we can see like between fair and survived. So it is 0.25. So checking between fair and survived. So this is the color which is given in this block. So we can go and check it here on the color bar, and we can see it is somewhere here. So it shows 0.25. So this is how we normally, like the beginner's technique. As a beginner, we start with the analysis, starting out with basic data discovery steps, and then using different visualization plots to draw out better insights. So with this, we come to the end. Thank you for your patience, for listening, and so the resources that like I have made a GitHub repository for this, and you can go and check it out. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and we can have even more discussions, and we can discuss about my journey in data and science, and we can maybe collaborate on some projects. So thank you.